What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about supplements. Before I jump into this video, I want to give a quickie disclaimer. Number one is that this is not a recommendation video. This is what I do video. So this does not mean that it necessarily applies to you. And with supplementation, it's important that you should either test your blood, get checked out by a physician, or just generally be smart about the whole process. I'm simply just sharing what I am using with you. Number two is that all the supplements in this video will be in a blog post. It should be in the description down below, and I'm gonna keep this blog post up to date, maybe like once a month, just to change things as they do change, because my supplementation is something that's always changing because it's something I like to experiment with. Number three, supplementation is not necessary. In fact, it is secondary to having a pretty solid diet in the first place. If your diet's not in good stint first, then supplementation isn't gonna get you out of a bad diet. So my recommendation would be to make sure your diet is on point first, and think of this sort of thing as like nice fluffy extras that you can add to it to make things better. Right, now that is out of the way, we can jump into the specifics of this video. And this is probably one of the most asked questions that I get when it comes to the nutrition side of things. It's kind of, what supplements do you take? And when I thought about it initially, I was like, there's not that many. I can kind of summarize this nice and quickly. And then the more I started thinking about it, so I was like, oh wait, that's a supplement, and that is, and I realized I probably have a problem. We're gonna go through it today. I'm gonna take you through from when I wake up, what I would take, to when I go to sleep, and everything in between. And then everything will be linked in that blog post. So there'll be specific brands, what forms I use, etc. And hopefully that gives you an idea of what I take on a day-to-day basis. So the first thing I do in the morning, like I should imagine a lot of people do in the morning, is have some water. It's generally good for you. The one thing that's different is that I usually add some stuff to this water, and these are the four things I generally put in my first glass of water in the morning. So that is basically what I drink in the morning. 1 tablespoon of salt, because of the electrolytes and the minerals that are in salt. There's like 70 different minerals, as well as the sodium itself. Also the trace mineral drops, which has a decent amount of magnesium in it. I had some potassium as well, because especially if I'm doing a lot of sweatier training, or I'm going in the sauna a lot, adding a little bit of potassium generally helps with electrolyte balance. And then some apple cider vinegar. There's some antifungal benefits, and it kind of neutralizes the salty taste of the drink. But yeah, this is basically what I have every single morning with half a liter of water. So in terms of the morning, that's kind of it really, because it's essentially just electrolytes and minerals is all I take in the morning. I generally fast until 10, 11, 12 o'clock whenever I get kind of hungry. So I don't really have anything else but water and some damn good coffee. From then on, I kind of have a set supplement list that I kind of take on a day-to-day basis that stays relatively consistent. These are the ones that I take with meals and kind of throughout the day. And they kind of boiled down to about 4 or 5, for myself personally, core supplements. Number one is something called Mobilize by Bulk Powders. This is a joint supplement. It's pretty good. It's got a very high dose. It's like 6 capsules for the daily dose. It has glucosamine, chondroitin, turmeric, ginger, manganese, copper, a load of stuff in. It's a good complex. It's got a decent dose of all of them. And I quite like this one. I do take this fairly regularly, but full disclosure, I am an affiliate and I'm sponsored by Bulk Powders, so take that as you will. Next we have curcumin, which is the active component of turmeric, the curcuminoids. I take one called curcumin phytosome because it's better absorbed. This and the joint formula is actually one of the ones that I notice the most difference. Every now and again I take a week off supplements completely just to reset things. And I noticed definitely inflammation-wise, my joints feel more sore and more achy when I'm not taking this. And especially because I do a lot of hand balancing, a lot of bodyweight stuff, a lot of joint intensive exercise, I notice this helps a hell of a lot. So I generally take one of these a day, as well as the joint formula. Next we have zinc, and this is another one that I've noticed a huge difference personally from, for 2 reasons. Number one is immunity-wise. I just haven't been sick for well over a year now, and I think this is definitely one to play. I didn't supplement with zinc before. And number 2 is skin. My skin improved loads since I started taking high dose zinc. I've never had good genetics for having good skin. I've suffered with acne for years. It's improved since I improved my diet, but it improved a hell of a lot when I was taking zinc as well. A few of these a day, and I generally split it out between each meal. Next is ashwagandha. I've talked about this before. It's an adaptogenic herb that helps your body deal with stress. It's been shown in studies to have a similar sort of effect in terms of strength gains to creatine. It definitely agrees with some people and doesn't agree with others. I generally take this, and I take it until the bottle's finished, and then I'll take 2 weeks, a month off, and then I'll buy it again and start again. So I generally have some period of having it and some period of not having it. It's got a lot of evidence in Ayurvedic medicine, and there's a decent amount of evidence for it in general. Last one in terms of the standard everyday stuff is methylfolate. The reason for this is I had a blood test about 6 months ago now, and I had pretty high B12 levels because I was taking a Thorn multivitamin for an extended period of time where I didn't potentially need to have the B12. So I stopped taking that and I started taking some B9 folic acid, and that helped balance things out. They're kind of synergistic in that sense. That's kind of why I take this one, and plus it helps with DNA repair, which, you know, is useful if you want to live. That's kind of the 5 supplements that I take on a day-to-day basis, and that doesn't generally change. On a side note, I've also been taking some broccoli sprouts lately because there's been a bit of a hype around sulforaphane. They're like 10 quid. Do I feel any different? Don't know. Will I continue to take them? Probably not, but if you're interested, there's those as well. So I realized when I was editing this video that I actually forgot to mention omega-3s, which are very important to me. All I'll do is I'll just link them in the blog post that I mentioned down below because they're currently out of stock, which is why I forgot them. I almost forgot to add to those core 5, I also take vitamin D3. However, I only generally take this one in winter because I try to get outside and get some sun in summer, and in winter in the UK it's pretty dark and dreary. We don't get much sun, so liquid sun is the best alternative, and there's so much evidence behind vitamin D3. Next, let's talk about other supplements and protein powders. In terms of protein powders, are they essential? Absolutely not. I use protein powders if, number one, I want to have a shake because shakes are kind of delicious, and number two, if I'm a little bit pushed for time or if I'm out and about somewhere. Apart from that, I try to get protein from whole food sources. They are better absorbed. Either way, protein powders isn't the best, but it's certainly useful. I don't use it every single day, but I generally do have it post-workout simply because it's easy and it's fast absorbed. I use natural whey protein by Bulk Powders. This one I have used way before they even offered to sponsor me. I've used it for like 2 years now, simply because it's one of the best valued natural whey proteins. Oftentimes you'll see organic whey or like cold processed whey. It's like expensive for what it is. This is cold processed, it's only sweetened with stevia, and it's pretty damn good value. I also use collagen, which is essentially what you'd get if you were to make bone broth. So oftentimes I will make bone broth or I'll make a chicken stock and I'll use that instead. But if I don't have time or if I'm just after some collagen, then I'll use this. Lastly is creatine, not really a protein, but it's kind of related. This is one I get loads of questions about creatine. Yes, I do take it. Again, I use Bulk Powders. I use creatine monohydrate. I take 2 to 5 grams every single day, and I take that every single day. I don't deload, I don't take a loading phase. It's pretty much consistent. And that is both for cognitive and performance reasons. In the blog post I'll probably link to like an exam article on how to take each one of the supplements. They have a load of good information there about it. Rather than butcher it, I'll just link you to somebody who knows better than me. One thing I also want to talk about is mushrooms, the magic kind. Mushrooms are something that I've taken most of this year, and I've had some great results from doing it. Definitely cognitive wise, I feel big improvement from things like cordyceps and lion's mane. So I take that kind of with coffee or with smoothies. I've taken Panax ginseng again because of like the adaptogenic benefits, much like ashwagandha. Chaga is another one, reishi for calming down and for immunity reasons. Like, they're kind of really interesting to me, and mushrooms are kind of like the OG human supplements. Like, there's evidence of humans taking mushrooms millennia ago to fix different issues. So I think they're really, really cool and something I've certainly been researching a little bit more into. Yeah, I personally like a brand called Navi in the UK. They're very, very good quality. I have no affiliation with them. I just think they're good quality supplements. So now we're drawing to the end. Those are kind of most of the supplements that I take. Remember, not all of them are taken on a day-to-day basis, and definitely none of them are actually essential. This is just stuff that I like to do and I feel better for doing it. That kind of covers the day, meals, all of that sort of stuff. Now, if we look at the evening, there's a couple of supplements that I do like to take. Number one is magnesium. Again, this one varies. I've used one called Yin Reserve, which I've recommended in the past, and I really do like Yin Reserve. Was a great supplement. It was unavailable, so I grabbed this one last time, which is MagTech by Natural Stacks. With magnesium, it just needs to be a very absorbable form, or you can use like a foot soak or a bath soak for magnesium, which I also do occasionally. And this is just a little bit more laborious than taking some capsules or a powder instead. So those magnesium things I'll take with another zinc capsule, and I'd probably do that an hour before bed. I might also have it with some reishi tea because reishi is kind of a relaxing, unwinding one. But that's kind of it when it comes to supplements, pretty much. Hopefully that wasn't too much information. I understand this probably wasn't the most interesting of vlogs to watch, but hopefully it was informational, and I try to just like pack everything that I take into this video. Just to reiterate, none of the supplements that I discussed in this video are essential by any means, but are they useful? Do they have an effect? Can they benefit you? Possibly. I personally feel good benefit, that's why I take the ones I take. I'm not recommending to you, I just recommend that you should do some research and experiment for yourself. That's personally what I do when it comes to training and also nutrition. But that's been it for this week, guys. If you want to suggest a topic for a vlog in future, something you want to hear me discuss, I've got some ideas, some future ones, but I'd love to hear what you want to see and what you want to discuss. Leave a comment down below and join the conversation. You can also just hit that thumbs up button as well if you enjoyed this video, if you liked it. Right next to it is that subscribe button. You can join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. We're slowly encroaching on 200,000 subscribers, which is bloody mental if you ask me. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace. I forgot to do the camera tap thing. You get the idea.